On this journey called life, you will definitely encounter the unexpected.
Sometimes you'll laugh, sometimes you'll cry, but in the end, if you have someone that will take your hand and walk through it with you, it makes everything better.
You get to make all kinds of discoveries along the way. Some about yourself, some about others. We made some and we just want to share it with you.
So we invite you to just listen, ask questions, make your own discoveries.
Pour your coffee, tea, or whatever you prefer. Settle in and let's talk about dating, courting, marriage, and life.
OG and Gigi, life radically redefined.
Welcome to the OG and Gigi show.
Tonight we have a single men's panel where we'll ask questions and gain some perspective from men about dating and courting.
So gentlemen, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
So I'm going to ask you to please share your first name and your age, if you're comfortable with sharing your age.
Start from left.
Okay. My name is Greg, and I'm 61. Well, I'll be 61 at the end of the month.
Listen, you need to jump up and down and be like, go ahead.
So definitely. My name is Elias Bennett. I'm 25 years old from Miami.
Absolutely. Anthony A. Wilson from Orlando, Florida.
All right, let's jump right into it then, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Okay. We have a few questions here, and I guess we'll start from left to right. That's all right.
Awesome.
Okay. These questions are for unmarried men that are dating. So, what would you say is the hardest thing dating these days?
The pandemic is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
That has a lot to do with it. I did go on a date this weekend, and the other thing about it is finding a place to go on a safe date.
Yes.
Right. So what does dating look like in the pandemic?
Complicated.
Okay.
But in a way, I think it's a good thing, too, because it slows you down. Even if you meet somebody that you might be interested in, you have to slow down before you even, like I've been on Match, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I'll meet out to talk a lot, but just get a feel for if I want to go to that point of meeting someone.
Gotcha. Eli?
So if I had to be honest, I definitely agree with Greg with what he said about the COVID, obviously, but I don't want to say the same thing. So what I'll say is social media nowadays. Social media is a big obstacle. I think not only an obstacle, but sometimes it could put things in a different perspective to a lot of people. So when you're dating someone, sometimes something could slip through social media, or people are very protective over that. So those type of things tend to hinder relationships. I'm just curious what dating was like back in the 90s or the early 2000s before social media. That things were definitely, I bet, a lot different. But
we can definitely speak to that.
Yeah. So times have definitely changed. I think the platform to access more people and to view different realities that aren't even somewhat real. Some people are just seeing the good side of people's lives. People really aren't seeing what's happening behind the scenes. People really aren't seeing what was put into that. People are just seeing greatness and this looks amazing. This is what the ideal relationship. And sometimes it ends up to people fighting. Mm-hmm. Sometimes because it puts the bar up here, right? The expectation is all the way up here, and now other guys are trying to have to compete and level up. And there's so much competition out there with social media now. People are depression's at an all-time high because of social media too. A lot of mental disorders come from that. So I highly recommend people watch Social Dilemma. It's a great documentary on Netflix. Mm-hmm. But after watching that, I definitely think social media is a big thing that hinders a lot of relationships nowadays.
Right. I mean, and to add to that, I think that because we're so social media driven, we don't know how to communicate face to face.
Correct.
So that to me
absolutely
is like a major
That's
hurdle.
A big one
Yeah.
for sure.
If we go out and we see a couple and they're both
how long is it until they're looking at the phones?
We're all texting each other right next to each other, like shoulder to shoulder. It's insane. It's insane. So actually, just piggyback off of what my other brothers have said as well. You have social media is like kind of like it's wavering out the intimacy and actually like knowing someone. Whereas, I would sit down with my father and he was like,
spend quality time.
Absolutely. Like, you know what I mean? Back in my day, you know what I mean? We didn't have instant messaging. You get
Or
what I mean?
FaceTime.
No, and I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm speaking in terms of my father,
Of your
of course,
dad, yeah,
absolutely,
exactly.
right. But back in my times, we didn't have instant messaging.
Right.
So if we were to actually have an altercation while dating, you get what I mean? We could actually have some time to, take a week off,
Right.
decompress,
Yeah.
Right.
actually, have me time, and
And
social
not
media
involve
burns me
everyone
time.
in
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
relationship.
Now people are up in your
It burns
junk
me time.
all
Absolutely.
the time.
Right.
Why are you liking this? Why are you on that? It's,
That's rough.
people have eyes on you all the time now.
Yeah.
And I definitely think back to what he was saying is, quality time is being like burnt. A lot of people value that, and I don't think social media helps.
But a plus side with the pandemic now, it kind of gives you, if you are able to actually meet somebody in person, it's a plus. You kind of feel special now that somebody's actually, that someone's actually breaching, a pandemic that actually spent face-to-face time with you. That automatically lets you know that somebody is actually serious about the inquiry.
I agree.
That's interesting that you say that, because I hear that from women all the time. Like, I think that there is almost there's like a chasm when it comes to men and women talking, because these men are saying a lot of the same things that single women are saying, but somehow it gets lost in translation when they say it to each other. So your primary way then of meeting potential partners is?
Well, it's funny because speaking of back in the day, all the days, that's me. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that.
Back in my day.
I will embrace
Listen,
that
because
I'm still viable.
Right.
Still feel youthful. So, but I can tell you, most of the time that I met someone was through friends and social gatherings through friends. That was normally how I met someone, because really, to be honest, I was very shy, so I was never the one to approach anybody just ad hoc. You know what I mean? But most of the time, that's 90% of the time, I met someone through friends. Now, that when your friends get married and everybody's married, that's not, for me, that doesn't happen, because now it's not too many people, single people around. As they know, I was a single parent, so that had a lot to do with me being single for a long time.
Because you prioritized
I
raising your daughter.
prioritized my daughter. I had to, because one of the other things I learned during that time, which was kind of a challenge, was you can't have two queens around. Because I think I was a good man raising my daughter and everything, but when the rubber hits the road, you meet another woman. They don't want that. They're like, oh, you're a good man, but I'm the queen, so your daughter is interfering with our relationship, even though she wouldn't be doing anything. But she wasn't the type. But just her being around was like she's taking away from my attention. So, which was really interesting, to notice that was really an impedance a lot of times. Just having a child and trying to do the right thing.
Repeat the question one more time for me.
Sure. So, what is your primary way of meeting potential partners now?
Okay. Yeah. So nowadays, I think I'm used to using both, the apps or the social media or the apps, whatever, and in person. I think I still love in person, because getting to know someone in person is so much more valuable than having a conversation over text. I'm a big believer that body language is everything. Your tone is everything, and those are two things that you can't perceive really through text or social media or an app, right? I mean, sometimes you can send a GIF, but it makes them laugh. But at the end of the day, it's more about getting to know someone in person. I think that was the best. I was never a fan of the apps pre-pandemic. I would definitely use it, but it was like never really successful, right? But now I think with the times that we're in, people are starting to use the apps more because of what's going on. That it's almost like you kind of got to adapt and try new things, right? Especially when the pandemic gets bad, people really aren't trying to shake hands or get close to them. I think I'm a big person in shaking hands or meeting people, or I'm Spanish. My mom taught me, when you meet people, you kiss them on the cheek, right? That doesn't happen anymore, right? So I just got to adapt to using my phone, and also in person people when I do meet them, when I get the chance. But you can't see half the face.
See
so
the eye.
so it's an eye and guess. It's a guessing game from the nose below. But yeah, that's how I meet people.
So, I'm sorry, I just want to
Yeah, go ahead.
interject. One of the things that you said earlier. Yeah, I'm doing Match.
Mhm.
You know, I'm using that now.
Now,
But-
is Match the only one you're using, or are you using multiple apps?
I'm only using one. Sometimes I go into POF. I don't even know all of them. So
Mhm.
Match, I guess I'm old school because that's been
That's
around.
that's the big one. That's
But
the big one.
I think what you pointed something out is that sometimes people put their best foot forward
Mhm.
on Match.
Absolutely,
You know what
I
mean?
definitely agree with that.
And you said
And-
that, and then like you said, there's no that
That-
close in person contact,
emotional
knowing
feel,
emotional,
yeah.
being able to talk to someone.
No.
Right.
You know,
I know Anthony, you haven't spoken yet, but
Correct.
through Match or the apps, have you guys even noticed the same profile of the person that you've met face to face?
Like when you look at the profile
Oh.
and the person shows up.
yeah.
Sometimes,
It's almost
yes,
like a catfish.
but
Sometimes
it's-
yes, sometimes no.
Sometimes it's like, hey, you definitely
Right.
put some different,
Right,
different
right,
pictures that don't
exactly,
look like what you are
right,
really. You know,
exactly.
they oversold, underdelivered, right?
Right,
When it's
right.
supposed to be other way around. You know,
Right.
so. But
So,
then,
do you guys oversell and underdeliver? Like when you put your profiles together, don't you put the best possible picture?
Let Anthony answer.
Oh, let him
Anthony
answer.
gets a
I'm
actually
chance to-
that's a
I'm
great
gonna
question. Go ahead and answer the
I'm
question
gonna-
about where you meet your people,
I'm
and then
gonna- yeah.
we'll
I'm gonna answer that
come back.
question and then we'll refrain back. I'm gonna surprise the group right now.
He doesn't use that. Right?
22 versus 61. I just now got back on social media, so I solely depend on primary face-to-face
That's
interaction
great.
in
That's
order
very
to meet
smart.
people. I've been off of social media since like my junior year in high school. I'm just now graduating
excellent.
Tuskegee
Mhm.
from senior, and I'm starting up my new business, and I'm just now getting back on social media to actually leverage my business. So the whole Tinder, the whole Match thing, something that I actually never had any type of exposure to at all. Face to face interaction is always where it will be most genuine. To actually like fill out a person. You get what I mean? It's so easy for us to hop on social media now and once again like put our best foot forward. But in actuality, if you are moving forward in the direction to actually build something,
Mhm.
it's actually the bad foot that's backwards that the
Mhm.
person needs to see,
Right.
and you can only get that in face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, quality time. That's where you'll find that out.
Correct. Absolutely.
And just the question that you had asked, you said,
Oh,
do you guys
we talked about catfishing.
oversell?
yeah, do you
underdeliver?
guys oversell and underdeliver
Well-
in your profile pic? Well, you don't use social media, but do you guys put
You wanna
like
go ahead?
the
No,
bicep
actually,
pics?
Actually, I think what I do is I'll put some pictures out there and I keep them current.
Mhm. Okay.
Because I'm not ashamed of myself. So
Right.
I go,
That's what's up. Okay.
But I also try to put what I want out there and who I am.
Yeah.
And I keep it genuine because I think you guys know
Yeah.
I'm a genuine person. What you see is what you get for the
Right.
bad or worse.
Absolutely.
So I don't oversell myself because of that. What I put there is what I put. I try to put a little bit of what I do
Mhm.
and what I'm about, and
Yeah.
I just leave it like that.
Excellent.
I'm not trying to make myself into something I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm also with him on that. I obviously put definitely good pictures of myself on there, but there's nothing filtered, nothing that's like not real, right? I'm not putting myself with an edited 6-pack or something like that.
Oh, you don't have 6-pack?
No, I don't. Not anymore. The old me. If you talked to me back in 2017, yeah. We're getting back there. We're getting back there in 2021. But the truth is I really just try to put myself out there. What it is, I also put myself in a business picture. I let people know I'm in a business, and there's expectations of that, right? I obviously treat my business first, and I put it on there. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and things are going to pop up, right? So I let that expectation be known up front. I feel like it allows me to solve a lot of the problems in the back end.
And it also shows the type of person that would be attracted to you.
Exactly.
That type,
Exactly.
being that.
For me, actually, coming back into the scene of social media after being like away so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's like perfect. You know, you able to like, do that, like
You're brand new.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh.
He's just him. Like he is just like I see him on social media.
Always
He is
him.
yesterday.
Always
So
him.
obviously you saw him with hair last time, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
A lot
So
of
we
people
gave him a
don't be
little haircut.
transparent
Yeah,
about
very,
things
very
like that, right?
transparent. He
Exactly.
was posting. He's like, I lost the bet. Here it is. We
Let's
cut
do
his
it.
hair because he lost
Let's
the
do
bet.
it.
But
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
this last time.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's how it goes.
All right, guys, we are going to take a commercial break,
Great.
and we'll be back in 2 minutes, guys, with Greg, Eli, and Anthony.
See you soon. Thanks for tuning in to OG and Gigi. Be sure to visit our website, ogandgigi.com, and place your order for our date or dare cards.
You want a long-term relationship, but is that true for the person you're dating?
Ask those deep questions and dig way beneath the surface to uncover who you are sitting across from.
And we wouldn't be us if there wasn't an element of fun in this deck.
So, date or dare.
Comment, like, and subscribe to remain connected. Hey, G's!
Thanks for tuning in into OG and Gigi. Be sure to visit our website, ogandgigi.com, and create your account to access your free vetting checklist.
If you are in a relationship currently, the checklist may affirm that your relationship is on the right track.
That's right. And it may also spark some conversation to get you where you want to be.
So comment, like, and subscribe to remain connected.
So you're single, but are you sure you're ready to mingle? We have just what you need to answer that question.
Our dating readiness assessment is on sale for $10 on our website, and it's available for immediate download.
You owe it to your current self and your future self to take a deep dive into who you are, who you want to be, and who you want to spend the rest of your life with.
So visit www.ogandgigi.com and click shop to get your copy.
The new year is just around the corner, but we are not setting any New Year's resolutions.
That's right, OG. We are anti-New Year's resolution. Instead, we are all about designing your own amazing life, starting whenever you want.
And that's right. For a limited time, our goal-setting workbook is available for a free download at ogandgigi.com.
So instead of setting a New Year's resolution, we invite you to make it your goal to radically redefine your life.
As we always say, be blessed and be a blessing. Welcome back from commercial break, guys. We're here with Greg, Eli, and Anthony, answering a few questions as unmarried men looking for suitors. So let's get right into it.
All right, well, this is a great question to come back on. Are you all open to being married?
Not anymore. I used to be,
Wow.
but at my age, you know, for a long time I did want to get remarried, but at my age, no.
What's the cutoff, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it's actually when I got close to 60, I was like, nah. I mean,
It's like, there's like, what's the point at that
What's the
point?
point?
What's the
Right,
point? What's the
right,
expense?
right.
Like,
Like married before.
right.
Okay. For me, I am open to being married at this point in my career. You know, in my life. You know, I think in my business too. I notice married couples do better. You know, that's one thing that. So I definitely look for someone who's going to be a supporting spouse and someone that I can support as well. I want to be the man for my family and be able to support someone as well. So yeah, definitely.
I am indifferent. I'm
Okay.
indifferent.
You're also 22, so I
Yes.
think.
But actually, I've been like, since I've been able to date,
Mhm.
like around like 16, like when my parents would allow it.
Right, right.
I've been a lover boy, so it's like I've been trying to like find love young,
Oh.
but you know how puppy love works.
Yeah, it doesn't. It
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
It doesn't work,
Absolutely.
guys. That puppy love
No.
ends up
And
being a
I
hurt
want to
dog.
clarify something. It's not that I'm not open to it,
Mhm.
and it doesn't mean I wouldn't. I do want to meet someone to have a long-term relationship, maybe
Yeah.
till I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Craig, I know you personally,
yeah.
and like, you are such a great guy. Like,
Okay.
we need, yeah, guys. He's single. He's a good guy. I mean, hit us up. and we'll connect you.
Oh, we're gonna have
The single women.
The single women. So.
All right. Okay, so we talked before, not with you guys, but on a different show, about having the exclusivity conversation. So when you're dating someone, who initiates that conversation about, hey, we're exclusive now?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I think one time it actually became an issue where I didn't even realize it was an issue, because growing up when I was in relationships, it wasn't like one day we woke up and said we're in an exclusive relationship, because it was like, I'm always around you, you're always around me. We don't have time to be with anybody else. To me, I'll be honest, it's kind of like elementary school. Like, you're mine and I'm yours now. You know, it's like we're adults. I think we can kind of figure that out. We haven't even. Now, I think it's a valid question these days, but it just depends on what type of people you're around.
I think so.
I think if you're an adult, you can kind of figure that out. If you're around the right adults.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's common sense isn't so common though.
Right,
Sometimes,
that's what-
Right.
yeah,
If common
But
sense
I
were
think-
common, everyone would have it.
But I
That's
think
right.
it's a valid question
Yeah,
to ask.
for
If
sure.
you do have, I wouldn't be, what's the word I want to use? Like, I wouldn't be upset if someone asked me that question if you got to a certain point, you know, because then I would just clarify it for them. Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's so important because when we're talking to couples and some singles, there's like this lack of clarity. Like for me, when I'm saying, are you seeing someone? Well, we're talking.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I don't know. Like you're talking now. When are you talking?
Yeah.
Are you talking to other people?
Yeah.
You're talking
How many
to
people
me.
are you talking to?
Right. So
Yeah, and it's, I want to piggyback to what Greg said. I really believe it's because of some people don't defy that they are in a committed relationship, which causes a lot of confusion.
Absolutely.
And I think the other thing is, when do you ask the question of how we're exclusive is very important too.
That's a big
because like if you we're with Matt, you're going out on a date. It's actually an interview.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what dating
if you
is.
start asking too
process.
soon
Right,
for that,
interviewing and vetting.
then you may run someone away with that, because it's like, I'm just getting to know you.
No, but I think though that's where we have to like I'm not going on 3 dates with you and asking me, are we exclusive?
Yeah.
No, but we're not. No, and don't call me again. I mean, like I think though, like you said, as adults, you get to a point where you're like, you know what? Because that kind of happened with us. I was like.
But I was pretty open. Is why you had to say
He had a harem, y'all.
No.
And
I
was
do
like,
know the story.
You
I know the story.
He had a harem, and I was like, listen, I want to date you exclusively, and you're not you don't seem to want that. So it's all good.
What's a harem?
A harem with a lot of women.
You don't know.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
He just had so many.
Arabian days.
Look at him. He's like.
Look, he can't even look, smile on his face.
No, I'll say this, but
everyone knew. He was so upfront with everyone. He was like,
it's not like I was hiding anything.
right.
You're upfront about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right. So no one could say that they were lied to, but I decided that, I really like you and I want to pursue something further. And if you don't, that's cool. No pressure. But I'm going to remove myself.
I
from
think
this
Does it
that's
also
that's
add
how
to
you
your
should-
attraction for your husband at the moment?
What, that he had a harem?
Exactly.
No,
No?
it didn't. It didn't.
Okay.
Because I felt like that wasn't, I felt like he wasn't being true to who he was. You know what I mean? Like, the side that he showed me was just so vulnerable and so sweet, and he would do anything for anyone. So I felt like, this is something that he's got to work through, get through, and do for now. And if we get together, great. But if not, I'm cool with that
You
too.
at least found out.
I'm not giving you an ultimatum. I'm just saying I'm going to remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
And he ended up driving around all night talking about I felt like I was broken up with. And then here we are. So
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
But
That's a good story.
that's what it is.
Yeah, to piggyback what he said. Sorry, repeat the question one more time. I like to hear
Oh,
this
okay.
sometimes because we
When
sidetrack
I
sometimes.
know. When you're dating, who initiates the exclusivity
Who initiates the exclusivity? So
conversation?
I think there's definitely sometimes you can feel a mutual agreement where it's going to be exclusive, and sometimes like common sense isn't that common. But I'm also a person that says, okay, we've been doing this for a couple weeks or a couple months, right? At this point, we got to ask ourselves, what are we, right? It's kind of like, what are we doing? Like, is this like, are we going to take this to the next level and say, hey, we're not seeing other people anymore? Because, you know, does that mean I'm taking myself off the market? Does that mean you're taking yourself off the market? Because at the end of the day, you know, you're going to avoid a lot more arguments when you do the upfront earlier, like in that point. So there's got to be like a tipping point. And I think for me, once I've seen a lady for X amount of time, I don't know necessarily how much time it is. It's mainly how it feels right here, right? You can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel like, yeah, you know, so I'm gravitating towards this person.
Right.
You've
I've been
doing your vetting.
Yeah, I've been doing, and she's qualifying everything.
Yeah.
She's passing the test and everything like that. Then, hey, you know, sometimes you gotta, you know, ask them the question: Are we exclusive? Do you want to do something to the next level, right?
See, I feel like it's just an imperative to ask that question, because if not, she may be feeling like.
And the reason why we even have this question is because couples that we've had to, I guess, counsel
and coach
is because they did not
have the conversation. So
early on, right? They didn't have that conversation.
Who thinks that they're exclusive, and another person that's like, no, I'm still seeing a bunch of people.
My old college roommate had that all the time with all of his girlfriends. They would come in and like he was not really exclusive, but they thought that he was exclusive, and like it always ended up being a very nasty fight. And I saw that firsthand as a roommate, and I was like, I never want that to happen. Let me make sure I clarify that at one point early on. You know, so I definitely am a big believer that I can initiate, but usually the lady usually is the one that asks it beforehand. But you know, there's usually a certain point where if I haven't gotten it yet, then I'm going to bring it up. You know, because I definitely want clarification, and if I'm going to take myself out of the market, I want to know that the partner is doing it as well.
Doing the same thing. I mean, I personally think that the guy should initiate that conversation. But
yeah, I have no problem with it.
I feel like I'm also very old school and traditional in that I need you to leave, right? Like, if I have to be like, are we exclusive? What are we going to do for dinner? Are we this? And what about this?
Yeah.
Then, like, I need you to, like.
There's a book, I'm sorry. I'm definitely very direct with when it comes to doing that type of stuff. And yeah, I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm going to tell people. And I think that's just something, part of the maturation process of me. You know, I wasn't always like that. But as I've gotten more and more experience through dating, I notice it pays to be direct, right, with the lady, and do it quick. And going back to what you were saying, there's this book I recommend for all guys to read. My CEO recommended it. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and it's a great book. I don't know, have you read it before?
I've heard.
You've heard of it. It's a great book, and I recommend all guys read it. Whether you're single, whether you're and it has a lot to do with what you're doing, what you just said. You know, you need a guy to lead, right? You need a guy to tell you. It goes back to like a lot of times ladies are feeling like the guy is just doing whatever the lady just to please the lady, right? But that's not the point. You want to be able to express yourself, be authentic, and that's pretty much what the book is about. I'm not going to ruin the book, but I would definitely check it out. It's a great book, and it's going to help a lot of relationships. No More Mr. Nice Guy.
No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yep, great book.
For me, all the way up until this point, I played like the back burner, right? Because us as male, at first, we're the pursuer.
Yes.
So once you get to a point of intimacy, you let this young lady understand that, hey, like, you've been the one that's been qualifying for my time. You've been the person that's, you know, like, that's been there for me. You know, you've got to a point where I was able to confide in you. What's known doesn't need to be explained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm a genuine person, so it's like you already understand that as soon as you come into my energy, as soon as you come into my aura, we understand that this is going, you know, somewhere. But now that I've reached the point that I'm at right now, piggybacking off of, you know, what my brother in business actually said, I definitely see myself being like more direct and being more upfront, as in like right now I'm in no type of lines to like give up like my freedom or like my singleness because I'm working on self right now. But once I get to that point, I would hate to, you know, waste a female's time as well as get my time wasted. You get what I mean?
It's so funny because it's almost like these guys have watched our shows.
They haven't said anything crazy.
I know, because the couples that we've had to coach is because they didn't go through, they didn't know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of men who don't. That's the thing. A lot of men go through their life, and back to that book, it really talks about how men were raised. You know, if they're raised with a single mother, they're raised a certain type of way.
Yes.
And I know a lot of single moms are going to feel a way about that. But the reality is, we have to look at what we're pouring into our sons and how we are raising them, and if we're raising them to be men and caretakers and fathers,
not lady pleasers. There's a difference because there's a thing where it's like when you raise a mama's boy, he's doing everything to please his mom, and then the next woman in his life, he's trying to do the same thing, right? And it shouldn't be that way. It should be what the man wants to do. And back in the day, back before there was a lot of single moms and stuff, the men used to work on the farm with their dad. They used to do hard labor, and they would learn how to be a man through that process, right? But that process isn't really there anymore.
Also, to piggyback off of what my brother said, I actually changed. I actually came with a phrase. My mother is superb mother. But I actually came up with a new phrase. It's actually such things as mommy sons.
Okay.
It's just encompassing love to where the point that like you're suffocating your son to the point where he can't be a man. You know what I mean? And you never want to overstep that boundary. And I mean, especially like for like our like black, coming from black families. You get what I mean? You know, being raised in a household where a man isn't man enough to step up to to the plate and own his responsibilities. You then leave that responsibility to the black female, and then once the maturity comes and you see your son literally growing into the man that you work with, somehow, some way, it's this psychological thinking from mothers where they put I would say a vendetta on their son as if they are their significant other, and it's so weird. It's so weird. It's something that needs to be addressed in black families. I don't know if it's like that.
In the 90s, I remember watching a 90s or 2000s, I remember watching a Dr. Phil episode where mothers were marrying their sons. Like they were having a ceremony. And I was just like, that is the most ridiculous nonsense. Because what does that do to your son's mind? Right? What are you saying to him? One, like, I have a son and I'm very close to him. And when he started dating who is now his wife, seriously, I actually recognized at 16 that I had to like step back because he has to be given the freedom to grow and be a man. To be himself. And he had his moments, where he had to stumble. And I wanted to reach and pick him up and say,
can't do that.
But you got to
men have to bump their heads. Men have to bump their heads.
It's called the age-old rule.
Yeah.
It's the age-old rule.
Yes.
Well,
Mommy says don't touch the stove.
It's funny, the way I grew up, there was a lot of aunts and uncles in my family, right? And both of them taught me, one of the things that was there was we had to treat women right. Yeah. My aunts was like, this is how it is. Yeah. My uncles were like, this is how you treat a woman. Right. So even to this day, they'll be like, like if I see somebody do that, or if I even think I'm going to do something that's not the way you're supposed to, I'll be like, oh, I'm scared not to do that. I got to treat a woman this way. Because you could feel them and, they're not even here. And I'm like, hey.
Because you were raised that way.
But see, that's what's missing.
We've seen, like, my cousins and I, we will see, like, a man do something where they don't open the door for somebody. And we'll be like, and I hate to say this, we used to say this, Bama, you don't know your manners, I hate to say it because we were raised that way.
Right.
And, and I would tell my daughter, I said, if a man doesn't open the door for you, if they don't do these kind of things, there's certain things a good man.
Right.
I said, don't fall for it. Some men know to do that and use that.
They know how to play the game.
Right. They know how to play the game.
I think that women also have to allow men to be men. Like, if a man is holding the door open for you, all you have to say is thank you.
That's it.
You don't have to say, I can do that myself. Okay, I
know we do. Yeah. Sometimes we don't get appreciated for being good.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll come back. I'm independent. I can hold.
Yeah. Too much.
Too much.
What is it? Masculinity.
Masculinity. That's, I was literally about to say that.
Right.
Sometimes females have masculinity, and sometimes men have the
Yeah.
other side too.
So that we
I don't need a man mentality.
Yeah. Oh my God.
A lot of women in our generation are actually managed.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
masculinity.
Yeah. But once again, that
Single
still
mothers.
comes from no presence of father being
Mhm.
in
Right.
the
So
family.
they're
So it's
told
like
you have
they
to
have to
be
come with that.
independent.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to do for
Strong.
yourself.
You have to be.
Everything that you usually tell your boys, you need to be independent. You need to be a critical thinker. You need to use logic. You need to. We're telling our daughters that, but then they're coming into the dating space
Mhm.
and they're coming at men with a very masculine type of energy.
Yep.
And I say that understanding that there are women who are high-powered executives, and in the boardroom, do your thing, sis. Be a high-powered executive.
Yes, you have
but
to.
at home,
be
don't
the woman.
emasculate. Right? Don't
agree.
emasculate your husband.
Exactly.
And
Right.
guys, on that note, we just wanted to thank our guys, Greg,
Anytime.
Eli,
If you need me back, I'll be here.
Well,
Well,
this was
don't
only part
go
one.
anywhere. This is just part one of
And,
2 parts, guys.
In 2 weeks, you'll see part 2.
All
Thank you
right.
for hanging in with us. We want you to come back though, because we
Please
have some
do.
more really great questions, and our panel is awesome.
All right. Like we always said, be blessed and be a blessing. I'm OG and this is Gigi.